Hi. Hello, hello. So on the Lighthouse, we're gonna have to wait a second to have people come on. Come on. Don't look at my dirty laundry. It's not dirty, it's actually clean. I'll show you. I try hiding it with the light of the bulb. I did a good job. It's clean laundry. Some of it is clean. Some of it is not. Alright. So Hanukkah is coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day. And kids are getting out of school super early. And they don't have school for the whole 8 days of Hanukkah. And, we thank Hashem for all the blessings, all the love, and all the hidden blessings, all the revealed ones as well. Oh man, the Lighthouse is getting a real full view of my room here. Kol hakavod for this. What do you mean, Elizabeth? For this class? Caramel, yeah, tell me that. Chocolate and strawberry with icing? Oy vey. Old school, yeah, I agree, is the best. First night of Hanukkah is tomorrow night. Tomorrow night! Thursday night is the first night of Chanuka. Light your candle. Make sure to light it where people can see it. Make sure to light it by your door or by your window where people are walking by and they can see it. You don't have to be on the ground floor or anything. You just have to put it somewhere where people can look up or look there or look there or look down and they'll see it. You can't put it on the floor, okay? It has to be above. It has to be about, let me just show you. That way, it'll be easier for you, Elizabeth. It has to be like that high, okay, from the floor, which is about, how do I say it in English? I don't know how to say it in the English meters. Somebody know? Does anybody know how high it has to be off the ground in feet? So if anybody knows, let me know, or write it here. How much does it have to be off the ground in feet? The menorah. Is that Jerry? Is that you? Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Devorah. Hi. Hey, Sarah. Sarah Adele, I have not seen you in ages. Hey, Devorah. So anybody know how tall it has to be off the ground? How far it has to be off the ground, the menorah? In feet, maybe? So it has to be outside, either by the doorpost, opposite your doorpost, meaning opposite your mezuzah, or it has to be on your window. It has to be someplace where people can see it and notice it. The idea is we want to, as much as we can, be mefarsim the nes, Persume Nisa, which means to have people look at it and then remember the miracle, or if they don't know about the miracle, find out about the miracle. What miracle was it? What happened? People are going to start talking about, oh, look at the menorah. People start having conversations. That's the idea. The idea is to really celebrate the miracle and make the miracle obvious to all. And that's another reason why we're not allowed to use the actual light. Like you can't really sit and read by the candlelight. Shouldn't sit and read. Hi, Rachel. Hi, hey. You should not use the candles for anything besides for looking at. And what else are we going to say about Chanukkah that you need to know? You should light as soon as the stars come out. Tzedek Chavim. It depends on what time that is where you're living, which side of the globe you're on. But that's what you should do it. Tzedek Chavim. The earlier the better. In terms of the earlier you can get to Tzedek Chavim, the better. You shouldn't eat before you light, meaning you shouldn't first have dinner or first have your strawberry icing, whipped cream. What was it that you wrote here? What's on your sufgania, on your donut? Chocolate and strawberry with icing. Yeah, that. So eat that afterwards. Before you light, you shouldn't eat anything. And okay, so ready? Should we start? Are we all ready? Hi, Shlomo. We should start? Shlomo, I actually taught some of your Torah today, and I was hoping that you were going to be on. I was teaching in my seminary. We were teaching Harnof, and all of a sudden your book was there, and I didn't even know it existed, and I started reading it, and I came late to class because I got so caught up in it. Shlomo Katz has an amazing book. on Hanukkah. I think it's called the Soul of Hanukkah. Really, really deep and beautiful. So beautiful. I came late to class and I'm the teacher. And so many beautiful Torahs in there. Thank you for that. I wish I had it for Hanukkah. We'll see. Maybe we can get it. Okay. So what we're going to talk about now, we're going to learn a little bit about Hanukkah from the Baal Sulam. Baal Sulam is Rav Ashlag. We're going to read together a little bit from the Baal Sulam, because there's nothing like, learning the words together and reading it together. I'll tell you the truth. This has been, diluted. It's been diluted by my Rav Yuval Asharov, and he wrote this in his own words. But he gets it from the Baal Sulam, and it's really powerful. This Torah here on Hanukkah, I think it's like really, there's so much Torah on Hanukkah. There's so much Torah on Hanukkah. Like, I had to prepare 4 different classes for Hanukkah this year, and I needed to go through a lot of texts and material. And this piece right here, I think, is the best part. And I think it's really something that is very, very applicable and very practical and very doable and very eye-opening and very inspiring. And it's really the strongest message for me, anyway, for me so much. Okay, so let's begin. Mesirut Nefesh, it's called. Asita. רק על ידי מסירות נפש, I'm going to translate, רק על ידי מסירות נפש והתעקשות יש פתח להתגבר על מכשולים. So he says, only through mesirut nefesh, which is literally sacrificing yourself for something, sacrificing your comfort, sacrificing your time, sacrificing your energy, sacrificing yourself. When you sacrifice yourself, יש פתח להתגבר על מכשולים. Then the actual sacrificing, what it does, it opens up, יש פתח, להתגבר על מכשולים. The things that you usually stumble upon, the things that you usually are not successful in, the things that you usually always mess up in, okay? And I know I have some of these things. Like, I know some of these things that are, for me, anytime I come in contact with this thing, which is usually not very often, I have a very, 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 very hard time saying, being strong in the face of it, okay? Really hard time. So he says here that when a person is mitakesh, when a person is stubborn, yesh petach litgaber al michsholim. That opens up energetically a place that you can overcome michsholim, which is obstacles in your way. Obstacles, the stuff that's very, very hard for you to usually overcome. That stuff. So he says, גם שלא נוח לך ולא טוב לך, תעשה את מה שנכון. Even when it's not comfortable for you or it's not easy for you, do what's right. Okay, and the biggest example for myself that I can give here right now is, let's say, exercising. I need to go to therapy for the amount of, one second, what happened, Vivian? What happened? I'm doing it wrong? Hold on. I need to move my computer, right? But then they're going to see my laundry. Hold on. Don't judge me. Okay? Just don't judge. It's been a long day. Is this good? Okay, this is good. So he says here, גם שלא נוח לך ולא טוב לך. So, about the exercise thing. Exercising is one of the hardest things in the world for me to get into, and I think I made so many videos on why I got into exercising and how good it felt and how amazing it felt and how wow I felt, and then, again, it's one of those things that I have to do this on. Like, I have to do this on, and we're going to learn what this is. He says, even when the thing is not comfortable for you or out of your way, right? Let's say going to pick someone up from the airport or doing things that are out of your way and you don't get paid for them and they're not comfortable for you, do what's right, he says. במקרה של עקדת יצחק, he says, when there was a kid יצחק, right? הייתה מסירות נפש. יצחק היה בן 37 והיה יכול להתנגד. Yitzchak was 37. He was able to say, you know what? I can't go through with this. I can't go through with this. I can't do it. And it would have been very, very understandable if he would have said, I can't go through with this. He was 37 years old. His father said, I have to take you up on the altar and I have to kill you. And he didn't say it to him, but he understood from what was going on that there was no animal that was going to be brought up to the altar. It was him that was going to be brought up to the altar. So he says, Ach amar laAvraham, but he says to Abraham, Tov shani lo ya'avor al kibud orim. It's better that I tikshor tov. He says, tie me tight, tie me well. That way I don't have to, God forbid, not transgress the mitzvah of honoring father and mother. Right? He says, in that moment, when he realizes that he has to get sacrificed, he says to his father, tie me tighter, because naturally, we have an instinct for survival. Naturally, if the knife comes on his neck, so naturally he might flinch, or naturally he might squish, or he won't be a kosher karban. He won't be a kosher sacrifice. So he didn't want that to be. And the reason that he didn't want to be a kosher sacrifice, and this part was so deep for me, because it's not because Hashem said that his father has to bring a karban. Hashem says that he has to take him to to bring him up as an offering. He says because of kibbud orim, because his father said. It's not like, sometimes you're on this like spiritual trip and you're like everything about like what you're learning and you're davening and all of that stuff. And then sometimes other human beings or even parents that are, let's say, not religious or whatever, they could take a back seat oftentimes because they don't understand or they don't know a lot of things. And what's incredible and I'm so impressive about Yitzchak is that he wasn't really doing it for God. He was doing it for God. But he was doing it because he didn't want to transgress the mitzvah of kibbud av in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't like, I want to be a perfect karban because that's what God wants of me. It's, I want to be a perfect karban because I want to do what my father says. That's so big. It's like a really big level. It's a very high level because it's much easier to be so spiritual and so connected and so into your God and into your maker and do your whole thing. And then when it comes to people or people that raised you, oftentimes, that's why it's such a hard mitzvah, then it's like, whatever, they don't really get anything. So he says here, כי אני חי בעולם לשמש את הבורא, זה ניסיון של מסירות נפש. ההמשך ידוע, אל תשלח ידך לנער, כי אתה ידעתי כי ירא אלוקים אתה. And then he gets, obviously the rest of it is obvious to us. We know what the rest of it is. Hi Darlene, welcome Lori. Hi Lori, hi Davina, everyone. So he says, okay, don't do anything to your child. I see that you've proven yourself. You've proven yourself God-fearing. I understand that you're God-fearing. And he says, בעצם הניסיון הזה לאברהם ויצחק גילה את הנשמה לכל הדורות בזכות מסירות נפש. He says that this nisayon that Avraham and Yitzchak did of the Akedah, גילה את הנשמה לכל הדורות בזכות מסירות הנפש. It allowed a certain layer on the nefesh to be removed for the whole of Klal Yisrael. You know that, right? We know that the Jewish people, we have a collective soul. We all have a collective soul. That's why if you do a mitzvah on the other end of the world, you help someone, you give tzedakah, you do something, it can cause somebody's heart here on the other side of Israel who's never heard of anything Jewish, or, you'd be surprised because so many Jews that live here in Israel have never heard anything about Judaism. I actually went to my mom's friend's house a while back, and I was sitting, and she lived not far from here, and I was sitting with her daughter, such a sweet girl, like 15 years old, and we got into talking, and somehow I brought up Shema, and she said that she doesn't know what Shema is. She's never heard of Shema. She doesn't know what Shema Yisrael is. She doesn't know what Shema Yisrael is. Oh my God. Right? And so so that can happen. So he says that this Mesirut Nefesh of the collective Klal Yisrael, the Mesirut Nefesh that Avraham and Yitzchak both had by Akedat Yitzchak, what that did to the collective soul of Am Yisrael is that it peeled off a layer, and it was megal in the neshama. It was revealing more of soul. That's why oftentimes when you see Jews that are connected to their soul, or Jews that are good people, like really, you see the neshama in them, you see the soul in their eyes, like you see the goodness in them, because there's a giloi neshama, there's almost like a revelation of who they really are on the inside. It's like, you want to call it a certain vulnerability, or you see the tmimus, you see the good-sky, you see the kindness, you see that these people are helpers and good doers in this world, and that's what he was talking about. It's like this layer that's revealed that happened from Yitzchak and Avram and Yitzchak. And he says, "Gam hanisayon Shel Lech Lecha. He says also the Nisayon of Lech Lecha, that he said, Omer Hashem LaAvraham, Lech Lecha Ladat, Le'an Avraham Olech. And Avraham doesn't know where he's going. Hashem tells him, he appears to him in a day, and, he says to him, go, walk. And he doesn't know where to walk. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know where he's even going. And he's leaving everything he knows, and he walks. He walks. מבטל את עצמו, Avraham is mevatel himself. Avraham nullifies himself. What does it mean to nullify yourself? Nullify all your doubts, and nullify all your thoughts, and nullify all of your the things that come up for you, and your insecurities and your fears, and nullify it. When you nullify that stuff, when you nullify the parts of you that are trying to hold you back, or that are trying to, super duper uber explain and re-explain how maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't make sense. Over here we're learning about something that we're going lemala me'ateva, lemala me'asechel. Lemala me'asechel. There's some kind of attribute to being mevatel the sechel, to almost like all we know, Judaism worships the mind. It worships the mind. Okay, everything starts and ends in the mind. Everything, what you think about, you do. What you think about, you feel. What you think about, you become. What you think about, what you think about, what you think about, what you think about. Koach machshava, right? Emuna. It all has to do with the mind. It all has to do with how healthy this garden over here is, and how well you're watering it, and how well you're taking care of it. But at the same time, there's something that's called bitul hayesh, bitul hamachshavot, bitul hasechel. To be mevatel the sechel, to go above the sechel, it means exactly what Avraham here did. Avraham was very smart. Avraham was way smarter than us. Yitzchak was way smarter than us. But there's something that they did, which is that they turned off their sechel. They turned off their mind. He could have been like, okay, Hashem, so where do you want me to go? Which direction? How far? Like, what am I doing when I get there? What's my mission? Tell me what my mission is. Like, what am I, what's my goal? Right? He didn't do anything. He went. He said go, he went. And he had a million questions. He wasn't like, he wasn't a dummy, God forbid. He had a million questions. But he turned off his head and he did what was right. And that is the midah that we're talking about here. So he says, he nullifies himself, and acts with mesirus nefesh, with sacrifice. He says, Anashim ktanim, small people, chayim rak betoch hasechel v'higayon, only live inside of their minds and inside of what makes sense. Okay? It doesn't make sense. I said this in my class last night. Hi, Simon. And when I'm at hasechel, exactly, Gil. Yes. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that when you give away money, that is the Torah's equation for making money. Okay? God says, challenge me, test me. I promise you, when you give away money, that is going to give you money. You're going to get money. Those are things that are like lemala min hasechel. Those are things that to the rational mind don't really make sense. Make sense is you count your pennies, you collect what you have, you put it away for a rainy day. You live like that. I think it was the Chafetz Chaim in Radin that lived in Radin, and he used to, before he went to sleep every night, he used to give away all of the money that he made throughout the day. And it's written somewhere that, it's written somewhere that his wife one night woke up to find him on the table, okay, if I'm not getting this wrong, she found him on the table looking through the bookshelves. And she said to him, what are you doing? And he said, I feel like there's money somewhere. Listen to this. I feel like there's money somewhere. We're not on that level, and we're not expected to be on that level, okay? This is not for like the Rov Am. It's not for a majority of us. But it's definitely a level. And she says to him, what are you doing? Why are you looking through the books in the middle of the night? And he says, I feel like there's money somewhere. And she says, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no money. And because what the Chafetz Chaim did was that before he went to sleep every night, he gave away all the money that he owned. Anything that he had to his name, he gave it away. And he said he couldn't fall asleep. He says, if I can't fall asleep, then there must be money somewhere. And he started looking through all the books, and he found a book, a sefer, that he put an envelope in, and in the envelope there was money. And he made sure to go give it away to an ani, and then he went back to sleep. they were living on that level because they were like, not in the matrix at all. We're in the matrix, but they were not in the matrix at all. We have to follow the rules of the game. They had other rules to follow, but the rules that we follow very, very much are, I remember. Okay, I'm going to share this because there was only a few people on, so I'm going to share this. I remember I was already like, I don't know, 30. I was already 30, and I was living in. I was 33. I was 33, and I had gotten divorced. Right? Was I 33 or 32? 32. I was 32. I was living in New York when I got divorced, and after I got divorced, I had a big situation happened to me. The week I got divorced, that same week in that apartment. My family came over for Shabbos, and I was changing my son's sheets on Shabbos in his bed, and I picked up the mattress, and I was like, what is this? What is that? And I called my sister. I was like, what is this? And my sister looked. She's like, oh my God, it's bed bugs. I'm like, what? What's bed bugs? She's like, no. You don't want to know what bed bugs is. She started like shaking. She started like twitching. She had bed bugs. So if anybody knows what bed bugs do, or bed bugs are like the plague of Egypt. They're like the plague of Egypt. You never ever want to get bed bugs in your life, ever. And if you know anyone that has bed bugs, pray for them, but stay far away from them. That is a plague. That is a pandemic. The bed bugs. It's really, really, they multiply by the thousands every night. It's really terrible. Anyway, so I was like, I have bed bugs, like in my son's bed. She's like, no, if you have it in your son's bed, you have it all over your house. I was like, I don't believe you. This was the same week I got divorced, okay? And then we started trying to get rid of the bed bugs, but it was impossible to get rid of the bed bugs because they were everywhere. They were in the walls. They were in anything that was made out of wood, okay? Anything that was made picture frames. They were in the curtains. They were in the sheets. They were in the bed frames. They were in everything. They were in everything that had any kind of softness to it, including wood. And in the walls. They were also in the walls. Okay, just thinking about it, just the anxiety. So what ended up happening was for the next 2 weeks, I was a psycho woman. I walked around with like 5 pairs of socks and gloves on my hands, and my kids were wrapped up in gloves and socks and things because they would bite us furiously. They would bite us. They were terrible. It was itchy, and we would like bleed from it. In any case, I had to get rid of all of my furniture. Everything went. All the clothes had to be washed and dried and put into black plastic bags. And there was nothing left. The apartment was completely empty. While the apartment is completely empty, and we're still living there, I wake up one morning after the bed bugs are gone, and guess what I see in my kitchen on my countertop? Guess. Come on, guess. I'm gonna let you guess. Guess. What do I see on my countertop? 3 guesses. Anyone? Okay. Let's see here. What I see on my countertop, I'll just tell you. What I see on my countertop are 3 squirrels. Squirrels! Like the squirrel, the animal. And it's on my countertop. And I'm hiding behind my 2-year-old. I have only a 2-year-old and my 4-year-old. He's terrified. So my 2-year-old's like, I'll get him, Mommy. I know how to find squirrels. I do it all the time. So he's there in his diaper. And I'm hiding behind my 2-year-old. Terrified and thinking like, I can't because I'm so already traumatized from the bed bugs. Squirrels, a family of squirrels. They're on my countertop eating my peaches. They were eating my peaches. And they were enjoying my peaches. And whenever we tried to, whenever I tiptoed in, I didn't even know how to go about this. How do you catch a squirrel? How do you catch a squirrel? How do you catch 3 squirrels in your house? Terrible nightmare. Anyway, they lived there for about a week. We didn't. We were always walking around the neighborhood and not coming upstairs. When I would come upstairs, they would leave me the peels from the apples and the peels from the peaches and the seeds, and it was a real party. And after they were gone, because they were trapped and then sent away, after they were gone, there was another animal. I forgot the animal exactly. Bekitzer, what happened the week after I got divorced, okay? 1 week after the next, when I left my house, when I left that house, I was shaking from trauma. I was traumatized and terrified, and I had to throw away all of my stuff, and everything was in bags, and to find a pair of tzitzis for my son was like climbing on a mountain to find, stuff. So very, 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 that was the beginning leg of the divorce process, and I think that was not the most, but definitely one of the more traumatizing parts of it. Now I can kill anything, by the way. I've killed tarantulas. I can kill anything now. When you have no choice, you make it happen. Who needs men? Okay, sorry, we're on live. So, what we're saying here, what we're reading here from the Baal Sulam, is that he's saying that when you understand that, he's saying that small people live in what makes sense right now. It doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't work out with my logic. And that's what we're learning right now. We're learning tonight, and that's really the crux of this whole holiday that we're about to embark on tomorrow. There is no sense. There is no sense to anything. There is no sense. There is no sense. There is the mala melateva. There's no sense. There's God. There's Einon Mevado. He puts us in a world of teva. He puts us in a world where there's nature and there is what to count on. There's a system. It's a systematic world where there's summer, spring, fall, and winter, where you know what's coming up next. But it's all a facade, really. It's really a facade. Everything is a miracle. It really is a miracle. For watermelons to pop out of the ground is a miracle, and for babies to pop out of people's bodies is a miracle. It's as if nature, it's as if natural, but it's not. It's not. It's all a miracle. It's all a miracle. We live within teva. We have to live according to teva. We're not supposed to, we're not supposed to expect miracles, and we're not supposed to, you could expect miracles. You're not supposed to depend on miracles. You're not supposed to, in Somchin Alanes, it says that a person shouldn't lean upon a miracle, I'll just wait for God to send me a miracle. No, you have to do what you have to do in this world, because there's a certain way to get things to happen. But really, 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 what we're learning right now is that nothing makes sense. It doesn't make sense, the whole way after my divorce and what happened there with the squirrels and the bed bugs. What was the other animal? There was another animal. Maybe I just blocked it out. It doesn't make sense that would be, because otherwise, what would happen? I would have stayed in that apartment. I would have stayed in that apartment, and I would have never left. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. I left that apartment, and I went to my parents' apartment. And I went to live with my parents because I had nowhere else to go, because my apartment was trashed by animals. And they kicked me out, basically. And so I went to live with my parents. And I'm 32 or 33 years old. I'm a mom of 2 kids. I am a teacher. Some call me Rebbitzin. I've been teaching Torah forever, and I'm really into it. And I like being Jewish, and I like being religious a lot. And I kind of have a crush on Hashem. And I don't know. And all of a sudden, I'm walking from my bedroom to my bathroom, and I was wearing pajamas, and my father sees me, and my father says to me, "That's why you're not married yet." I was like, "Come again?" He said, "If you would wear pants, you would be married by now. By the fact that you don't wear pants, that's why you're not married." And I said to him, "So what do you want me to do about that now? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to change that?" So he said, "Just wear pants. If you wore pants, I'm telling you, you get married in a second." And I remember thinking, it literally, he wasn't joking. It made a lot of sense to him. It just made so much sense to him that if I wore pants, then I would get married. Because from his limited thinking, that's how a female gets married. How does a female get married? If she shows off her beautiful parts, she gets married that way. If she's all covered up, who's going to see her? If she's all covered up and she's all tznius and religious and whatever, who's going to whose eye is she going to catch? And then it's a lot less likely for her to get married. Hi, Elisa. Hi, Jeremy. Hey, Dave. I know you don't agree. Of course. You can't not agree, Dave, when you come in now. You're in the middle of the story. We're at the end of the story. You have to listen to the whole thing. Go back and listen to the whole thing after. So, what I wanted to say here is that really everything is in the Mala Min HaTeva. There is no, like, you do this, then you get married. You don't do that, then you don't have a kid. It's all in Hashem's hands. Everything's in Hashem's hands. Even the Teva, it's all in Hashem's hands. Okay, we have to live according to the rules here because that's what He wants us to do. But really, really, miracles are upon us, and they can be upon us any moment. Yeshua Hashem it can happen any minute, right? We don't live. The more you realize that you don't live within a real. It's all facade. It's as if a structure. It's as if it's as if a world with as if laws and as if. But really there is Einon Milvado, that He's, pushing the buttons to everything, that anything is possible. Not like, oh, that's not possible because of whatever. Everything is possible. Anything is possible. So that's what He's telling us. He's telling us that small people, we're reading the Baal Sulam right now. He says like this, he says that small people, Anshim Ktanim, Chaim Rak, B'toch HaSechel v'Higaon, only live within what makes sense, within what's rational, within what's logical. Small thinkers. Ma yatzeli mize, what am I getting out of it? What am I getting out of it? That's the logical thinking. How much? Where? What am I getting out of it? Who's going to be there? Like, what's in it for me? And does it make sense? And then he continues and says, Bli Mesirut Nefesh. This person doesn't live with Mesirut Nefesh. They don't live with any sense of sacrifice, to sacrifice for something bigger, to sacrifice for something that not necessarily now will they receive the results. The results are not going to be here and now. They might be even in 100 years from now. You know this, right? I said this a few times that I went to Poland. I actually went to Poland right before Corona hit. And last time I went to Poland, I went to the cemetery there in Warsaw, and I found my great grandfather and grandmother, and it was really, really touching. Hi Zilpa, welcome. I love your name. It was a really, really touching experience to find them, and me and my cousin ended up changing their tombstones because my great grandfather's tombstone was broken. And we changed it, we got it fixed, and it was really a very emotional moment. We both broke down and cried, like, hysterically. It was a really crazy moment. We didn't know that they were there. We just were there on a tour. And I was so bored on this tour. I was the tour leader. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be by graves anymore. And I am the grave person, but I just couldn't. Poland is one massive grave, so it was a long trip, and it was lots and lots and lots of cemeteries, sadly. And so this final cemetery that we went to in Warsaw, I decided instead of walking around with the tour, I'm just going to walk into the office here and see maybe there's someone from my family, because I had found out the night before that my grandparents were from Warsaw, where all along I thought they were from Lodz. So ended up, he gave me their name and he gave me their spot, and then we went there, and it was a very emotional experience. And for me, when I became religious when I was 12 years old, I didn't know any other religious person. I knew that I had teachers in my school, but I didn't know anyone in my circles, in my extended circles, in my family, in my neighborhood, anyone. Hiya, Regina. Hi, Regina. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone in my circles that was religious or that had anything to do with religion. I grew up so secular, so secular, Chiloni Israeli. And when I started keeping the mitzvahs, I wanted to try to find this, the person in my family, because I'm sure there was someone that was religious. I'm sure there was a religious person in my family, and I couldn't find anyone. And I went back 100 years. I did a lot of research. I went back 100 years. Not one person was religious. So I still don't know. I don't know. I don't know who the religious person was in my family. But I'll tell you this. A lot of my cousins are married to non-Jews. I have a cousin that doesn't believe in circumcision, and lots of intermarriage and assimilation in my family, sadly. And Because just because, our Torah doesn't believe in that and doesn't hold by that. Jews need to marry Jews. And so there's a lot of that. And someone, somewhere, a long time ago, prayed for my soul without knowing that they were praying for my soul. They were praying for their titzaim. They were praying for their offspring. They were praying for their offspring to do tshuva one day. Maybe because they saw that the war was coming. Maybe they saw that there was no hope. Maybe they saw that there was nothing for people to hold on to in the family because the family wasn't so religiously strong. I don't know. I can literally come from a family of a real dynasty of people, and I have no idea. I was never successful in finding them. If anybody could help me, that would be cool. But I don't know if it's possible. I went back 100 years, and there was not one person. But someone prayed. Someone, somewhere, at some point, did a lot of Mesiras Nefesh. And that's what we're learning about right now. Hi, Ari. Did a lot of Mesiras Nefesh for their children, their grandchildren, for Judaism, somewhere along the lines. And they died not knowing, not seeing the fruits of their labor. They died not knowing who they prayed for or if their prayers were even heard. And today, me, only us, meaning only my immediate family, me and my 3 older sisters, are all Shomer Shabbos and kosher, and all of them are married to Jews that go to shul and that observe holidays and that wear yarmulkes. Wow. And it was only in my immediate family, meaning my mother's whole family is not, my father's whole family is not. Not one other religious person on either side. Only our family. And for me, I was the first one to start with this religion, with religion in my family. And that was a real, like I was the biggest party pooper for them. Biggest. They had a real big issue with that. But today, that's what it says. Zorim b'dima berina k'tohu. The idea is that when you plow, when you plant with dima, with tears, with sweat, blood and tears, when you're plowing and you're putting the seeds in the ground of your life, of the things that you want to eventually see sprout up in your life, okay? And in order for things to sprout up in your life that are good, it's years of work, years of work. It's not, there is no, we're living in a time where everything is instant, but nothing that's real is instant, ever, okay? When I was married, it was after Shabbat Brachos, I knew that I needed to get divorced. I knew it. But I also knew that if I'm going to get divorced after Shabbat Brachos, where's the work? Where is the trying? Where is the working on trying to make it work? Because I know, because of my tshuva that I did, of how intense it was and how difficult it was and how much blood, sweat, and tears went to it and how often I had to go away for Shabbos every single week. I had to go from family to family with my little suitcase, strangers' homes that I had no idea who they were, and I was a little girl, I was only 12 years old, and just, because I couldn't stay home for Shabbos, there was just no Shabbos. So, so I had to do Mesiras Nefesh on that part, and I had to do Mesiras Nefesh on the part of not eating at home and stopping to eat my mother's food, which was really, really hard. When I became religious, I lost about 20 pounds within the first 2 months, because I stopped eating because I didn't know what was kosher. Hi, Shira. And Michael. Or Michal. Or Michael. That's Michael, not Michal. And so that's what we're learning about right now. That's what Baal Sulam is saying right now. That really, the only way for your garden to blossom, the only way for this seed to sprout, is only if you understand that you have to water it, and watering it takes a long time. And you water it with sweat. You water it with blood of sacrifice. Sacrificing what's easier and what's comfortable now for what you want to see happen and flourish inside of you in the future. What characteristic? What personality trait? What midah? What, do you want humility? Humility is something that you have to work for, you have to get it. And the biggest things come when you're humble. You can land the best positions, and you can be the most successful when you move into a place of humility. Humility is something that you have to go and acquire, and happiness is something that you have to go and acquire. These things are things that we have to go and acquire. They don't come because we go out and we have fun. And they don't come because we have a good job. And they don't come because, I don't know, we have some kids. They don't. The work of the inside world is the real work, and it's the most gratifying work. Because then when it sprouts, you all of a sudden feel that you're changing, and you feel like you're different, and you feel like, wow, you feel like you've moved. You've moved, and that's a big deal. So what he's saying here is that he's saying, Lumatam, he says, where are we? Lumatam, he says, in opposition to these small-minded people, to the people that are, they go according to logic and they go according to what makes sense in the here and the now, because it's exactly the opposite of what we're saying. We're saying the recipe for greatness and the recipe for change and the recipe for happiness and the recipe for real, a change of internal climate. Okay, and when you're feeling differently internally, then you're also experiencing a different kind of life externally. So he says, when a person does the avoda on the inside, it's not the avoda of fun. It's not the avoda of easy. If it feels hard, that's the avoda. That's when you know you're in the game. That's the limphus test. Hi, Yossi. I'm in the mood of saying hi to everyone. I'm sorry. Because I'm also really tired. I have taught more this week than I have taught all Corona. Okay? So I'm just so tired of hearing myself speak. But I'm happy you guys are happy listening to me talk. Thanks for being here. So that's what we're saying here. We're saying that really the recipe for the real stuff, like the stuff that comes later, the stuff that like pays off, the recipe in order to be able to get that, it's only through Zolim Bedima right now. It's planting the seeds in the ground with tears now. The tears are of self-sacrifice. And not eating that, not smoking that, getting up in the morning, going to pray when you don't feel like it, when you're cold, you just want to stay in bed, extending yourself to somebody else, putting a smile on your face when you don't feel like it. Putting the smile on your face when you don't feel like it is a big mitzvah. It's a very big mitzvah, right? All that internal work of like, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. That's the work that builds the inside. And that's the work of Mesiras Nefesh that we're talking about here. Listen to what he says about Mesiras Nefesh. It's mind-blowing. He says, Lumatam, he says, in comparison to the people that live their lives in a very strategic, very logical, if it doesn't make sense, or if there's nothing in it for me, I don't do it. In comparison to, on the other side of those, there is HaMaccabim, Shenitchu Tzava Anak, the Maccabim who beat an entire army of people, an entire army they beat, and they had elephants and they had warfare, and it was a serious war, and these Maccabim, they beat them. Hem Kohanim bebet hamikdash. They're the Kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash. Ma kesher. What did they have to do with fighting? They don't have anything to do with fighting. They're like walking around barefoot, eating meat in the Beis Hamikdash, doing the karbanos all day. The Kohanim, like they're not anything to do with their hands are like, feminine. They're not manly war. The way it's like, the way it's shown here in Israel is like the Maccabim. They have like short sleeves and like short shorts and like this crazy haircut, like this Greek haircut. These are the Maccabim, and like with gel, and they have this like look of terror, like a look of like like mean, like a bully look in their eyes, and they're holding like weapons. That wasn't the Maccabim at all. That's not who they were. They were Kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash, and they wore white robes all day, and they lived their life to serve. So he says they were there all day, asur lo lilachem, and they were not allowed to fight. So they didn't even know how to fight. It wasn't like they were trained in fighting. They didn't know how to fight. But even though that this was the case, haneshama shelem yetza lemilchama. Their soul went to war. Their soul went to war. What does that mean? מי שמחזק בנשמה שלו ומתחבר לבורא, מגלה שהנשמה שלו יותר חזקה מהגוף. And this is something that's really, really big that the Baal Sulam is saying. He's saying that a person that it connects deeply to their neshama, Okay, connects deeply to their neshama, meaning you know that you are a soul. Above and beyond, you are a soul. And where does all the work happen? Inside your soul. Body is all about pleasure. Okay, so body is stay in bed. Body is let me gossip. Body is let me just eat this. Body is, the other night I went to visit a friend and we went out to eat. Like, not to eat, but to get food, to eat it on the sidewalk. And then we walked into this Jachnun bar, which is like this, oh my gosh, you don't want to be there, because I'll tell you why in a minute you don't want to be there, because it's so good. I have never been into the Jachnun bar, but wow, they make a malawach, and they put trina, they put salad, and they have all this fresh stuff, and it's like they wrap it up, and there's like egg, and it's like, wow. It's wow, and it's like not expensive, and he makes it on the spot for you, and it smells so good. And both of us walk in there, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna have 2 of these and 1 of these, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have, and we're ordering, and it was so hard. And then I look around. I'm looking around for like a certificate. Like, we're in Jerusalem, we are in Jerusalem, and you would think that like everything should be basically kosher, and they had no certificate on the wall. And then I looked at the people inside, and they were all Arabs, and the people outside were all Arabs. There were some Jews sitting outside, but it was definitely like a heavily Arab feeling restaurant. And I said to him, okay, do you have a certificate, a kosher certificate? And he said, all of our ingredients are kosher, but we're open on Shabbos. I can't even tell you what that felt like for me in the moment. I was already drooling. Hey, Elisheva! You should know I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you. I have been waiting for you, Elisheva. All week I have been waiting for you. So, I was drooling. She, my friend, happened to, she needs to eat. She has like a condition. She needs to eat. Everything else was closed. So she got this malawach, and she was eating it. And she put everything possible into this malawach, and it smelled so good. It was painful. And he said, okay, what do you want in yours? And I said, no, I'm all right. Thank you. I'm not even hungry. I'm okay. And I'm starving. I'm famished. And it was not easy. It wasn't easy. That's mysterious nefesh. That's what we're talking about. When it's not easy. And you have to say no to something that's yummy. You have to say no to something that's awesome. And you have to say no to someone that's fun, but not healthy for you. It's not fun. It's not fun. That dilemma, that moment where you can easily just say, whatever, all the ingredients are kosher. It's fine. So what if they're open on Shabbos? Where you could just let your mind just be like, it's logically it's okay, right? Everything is kosher in Israel. Whatever. It's not true. Not everything is kosher in Israel. That's a lie. So he says here that when you understand, this is so brilliant and deep, when you understand that your real strength, your energy really in life, and your strength to overcome things, your strength of character, your strength of thought, your clarity of thought, when you understand that your strength comes from your soul, then you're going to be so careful not to hurt your soul in any way. When I mean to hurt my soul in any way, I mean that all the comforts, so the body has the comfort language, and the soul has the development language. The soul has the expansive language. The soul has the energy language. The soul has the life force, the living. That's the language of the soul. The body is very connected to the now, and the body wants to get as much in its mouth as possible, right? The body wants the constant, give me the stimulus, as much stimulus as possible, okay? I'll take it in whatever way, through whatever senses I have, I'll take it in. And so what he's saying, the Baal Sulam, in his brilliance here, is that you have to understand your strength, your passion, your will for life, your excitement, all of that comes from your soul. It doesn't come from your body. And what weakens the soul is feeding the body excessively. That's what weakens the soul. In essence, when I say weakens the soul, I mean weakens your whole. It weakens your whole being. It weakens your energy levels. It weakens your ability to get out of bed early and have a productive day, which will in essence make you feel good about yourself. It weakens your ability to expand and help other people and do for other people. It weakens you. It weakens everything that you really are. Your character, your being. It weakens you, right? So when you feed the body with the comforts, you have to know that the soul's paying the price, and the soul is you. The soul is us. When do you know a person is depressed? You know a person is depressed when they want to sleep a lot. That's a very big sign of depression, when they just want to sleep a lot. They don't have any energy. They're lethargic. They're lethargic. They don't have any energy. So you could say it's fibromyalgia. You could say, oh, what does fibromyalgia mean? Fibromyalgia is another way of saying we have no idea why your body is not being kind to you right now, why you have no energy, why your limbs feel like lead. We have no clue, because your scans and your tests and your labs are all coming back perfect. We don't know what's up with you, so we're just going to give it a name, fibromyalgia, and let you live in pain, because we don't know why you're in pain. The body is always going to be in pain when the soul is in pain. The body pays the price when the soul is hurting. When does the soul start hurting? When the soul starts hurting when it pays the price for the body. You understand what I'm saying? It's very tricky. It's very tricky because just being aware of this is enough. Just knowing this is enough. You know? Hi, Hannah. Just knowing this is enough. That when the body has a voice and the soul has a voice. The body's voice is pleasure. The soul's voice is, wait, let's wait off because this might not be good for me right now. Like being in this position with this person might not be very good for me right now. It might be hurting me in the long run. It might mess up our relationship. It might, giving into my children every day to watch TV and eat ice cream. And right now, that makes them very, very happy. They're very happy with the ice cream and the TV for hours on end. But I'm going to pay the price later when they have no attention span left and they have no teeth left. Then I'm going to pay the price. Okay, Darlene, yeah, that's your daughter has fibromyalgia. Yeah, fibromyalgia and IBS, and there are many other ones that they are just unexplainable, and they don't know what's going on because everything comes up okay and everything is good. And it's coming from the nefesh. It's coming from the soul. So the thing is that, so the body wants it here and now. And like the child, think of the child. The child wants it here and now. And the child gets it here and now. In the interim, is the child happy? So happy. Give them movies. Let them binge watch. Let them stay up all night. Let them drink as much Coke as they want. Let them eat hot dogs from morning to night. Let them just be, do what tastes good and feels good in the moment. So they're feeding the body. Who pays the price for the body's taiva? Who pays the price for the body's desires in the moment? The inside. It's the soul. The soul is what pays. Because what's the soul? The soul is, in essence, the soul is everything that makes you happy. So how does a person become happy? A person becomes happy when they don't give in to all the things that their body wants them to give into in the moment. Right? That's it. That's it. That's it. The struggle is saying no to the body. The struggle is pulling yourself away when you're mid or right before you walk into an Avera. You walk into something that's going to be bad for you, and you know it's going to be bad for you. You know it's going to mess so much up for you. And it's not what you believe in, and it's not what's good for you. But you do it anyway because you broke and you gave in, and everyone's doing it, and whatever, and that's just whatever, and you do it. So in the moment, it feels good, but the moment's going to be over in a moment's time. But the ramifications hit the soul. And when it hits the soul gets weakened. And when the soul gets weakened and weakened and weakened and weakened by all of the trashing of the body, the soul gets weakened. The way it reacts is with fibromyalgia. It reacts with depression. It reacts with intense stomach aches, IBS. It reacts in many ways. When the body talks in pain, it's either one of two things. It's either because recently you've been really eating bad food, okay, for a few days in a row, you've been eating really bad food, so it's reacting in like gas and pain and whatever. Or if you have pain that's not like just continuous pain, you have to know that there's a rule that in Zohar that says Gavoa Ma'al Gavoa Shomel, that the higher energy level, the higher energy force always rules the lower energy force, and that's talking specifically about the body and the nefesh, the neshama. Meaning the neshama, the soul, is higher than the body. Okay? The soul is higher, has a higher force, energy, than the body does. So you have to know that if the soul's well, the body's going to follow suit. And if the body's well, it doesn't necessarily mean that the soul's going to follow suit. Meaning you can have a person that is so, and you guys know me. I'm all into health and eating well, and I have detoxes, and I run detoxes, and I whatever. I live like this, and my kids live like this, and we juice, and we shake, and we do all these things. But that's the hishtadlus that we're doing. That's just trying to stay healthy, okay, in this current state of life being, okay? But really, a person that is a healthy person soul-wise, meaning that doesn't give in to every single taiva that they want, that doesn't, just follow their heart, like, whatever feels good in the moment, the sleeping late, or the not getting up and going to shul, or the not getting up and, praying, or the not getting up and taking a run, or doing his bodhidas, or meditating, or doing things that in the interim are not like eating jelly beans. It's not eating jelly beans. It's not eating a donut. You're right. And it's not hanging out with people that are your people and it's fun and just, chilling and hanging out. And yeah, it's not. It requires you to pull yourself together and pull yourself out of bed and throw yourself out into the cold and do something that's not rewarding and not fulfilling right now. It does. That's the point. Because when the neshama gets those, that's the food for the soul. So when the neshama gets that, when you actually are pulling yourself out of bed and pulling yourself together and pulling yourself away from that person and doing the right thing, what you give to the soul is energy, life. You give to the soul life. And that's what we're giving to the soul of Soul of Hanukkah. Getting to at the end of this passage here with the Baal Sulam. But you're giving your soul life. And how do you feel after that? You normally feel like you have a lot of energy. You have a lot of energy. Energy is a very big indication of where you're holding spiritually also. Very big indication. So if you have no energy and you're just so tired all the time and you have to check how often you are giving and caving into the voice of pleasure, the voice of comfort, the voice of I don't want to move, the voice of, I don't want to come out of my comfort zone, like, why do I have to get another job? Like, let me just stay in this job. And like, yeah, maybe that other job is going to be, more exciting or better for me or better for my future or better for whatever. But this is what I know. I know this job already and I know the people here. And, I know it. So do I love it? I don't love it, but I know it. And that's why women stay in abusive marriages as well. Why do women stay in abusive marriages or men stay in abusive marriages? Because they know it. They know the abuse. They're familiar with the kind of abuse. So they stay. Because who knows, if I leave this marriage and I leave the abuse, maybe I'm going to find someone that's going to even be more abusive. Probably will if you don't do the work. But that's a very small-minded way of thinking. I'll just stay small because who knows, out there if I'll succeed or out there if I'll be able to make something better of myself. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking that when we listen to the voice of the body, the soul pays a price. And the price that the soul pays is that energy-wise, it goes down. And happiness-wise, it goes down. And hope-wise, it goes down. And a lot of stuff goes down on the soul front. The soul is responsible for all of it's the life force that you have inside of you. It's your ideas. It's your clarity. It's your happiness. It's your joy. It's your connecting to other people. It's what makes you you. And so when you keep caving in to comfort and comfort zone and fears and limited beliefs and I don't want to get out of bed and it's cold and I don't want to leave this person because what am I going to do without them and who's going to take care of me and who am I going to lean on and all of that, then what happens is that the soul pays the price. And when the soul pays the price, then the body pays the price. What does that mean? Gavoa Ma'al Gavoa Shomel. It means that when the soul is sick, when the soul gets toxic, Okay? When you stifle the soul, when you keep only listening to the body's voice of like, if it doesn't feel good in the here and now, I'm not doing it. You know? If I'm not going to change, love it or leave it. Love it or leave it. Hi, Shandy. Either love me or leave me. I'm not gonna change for anything. You know, these terms, these sayings are such kfira. They're not what we hold by, and that's not what we are. You know, we're exactly the opposite. We think the opposite, we live the opposite, we do the opposite. So it says here, Misha mechazek b'neshama shelo. Oh, so what I wanted to say? I want to say about the soul, that when the soul starts to get toxic, then it starts to create pain in the body. It starts to create pain in the body. Gavoah ma'al gavoah shomel. The higher energy force, the higher energy field, which is the soul, is shomel on the gavoah ma'al gavoah, the lower energy field. Meaning, if your soul is doing well, your body's doing well. And if your body's doing well, it doesn't necessarily mean that your soul is doing well. How many people do we know that work out and they're vegan and they drink shakes and they eat, I don't know, wheatgrass, okay, all these things, and then they have a heart attack at 48, and then they're, you know, how many people do we know like that? That's exactly very much the ideology. How do you say that? Ideology? No, not idolatry. Ideology. How do you say like the thing? Whatever of the Greeks. Okay, you know what I'm saying. Of the Greeks were, if this baby is not healthy, he gets thrown off the cliff. And if this person doesn't have a perfect body, then he's not a part of us. And if this guy is not amazing at sports and in the gymnasia, then he is, you know, then he gets casted out. He gets killed. He gets thrown off a cliff, right? Because their whole being was to worship the body. So not taking away, they didn't realize that the body's only there because the soul is there. And every human being has a soul because the soul is the nucleus. The soul is what gives the life force. The soul is the electricity. You can have a light bulb, but if it's not connected into the socket, into the thing, it's not going to turn on. It needs to have electricity follow through it, and that's the soul. So in essence, you are your soul. You have a body, right? But you are your soul. So they separated those two things. They took the soul away from the equation and then just said, let's just put the focus on the body. Let's idealize the body. Let's make the body into our avodah zarah. Let's just, you know, beautify the body. Let's worship the body. Let's worship muscles. Let's worship strength. Let's worship money. Let's worship beauty. Let's worship the body and do what the body tells us to do. If the body feels like doing something that's sexual, that's inappropriate, do it. And if the body feels, you know, you have to listen to your body. You know, when we were married and we went to a therapist, and this therapist wasn't religious, and we went to her 1 or 2 times, and then the second time that we went to her, she told us to do things that were so insane, and I could not believe that she was saying this. And I said, where do you have sources for this? And she said, oh, I'll show you. And she took out her psychology books and she showed me. And what it said there was really crazy. It said that a man, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna say this, but a man that doesn't masturbate on a daily basis is making himself sick, is literally making himself ill. It's not healthy for his body. The Torah is very, very clear on how it's exactly the opposite. As long as a man is able to hold that and control that and be in control of that, and he be the one to ride the horse as opposed to the horse ride the man, when he's able to do that, then the soul comes to life, and everything that he's looking for will fall into his lap, and the woman of his dreams will walk into his life. It's exactly the opposite. Right? So even today, I mean, this therapist was in Israel. Even today, this Jewish therapist is teaching us Greek ideology about how the body comes first, and it's really, really, really the opposite of what Hashem has told us and given us. It's the focus. When you put the focus on the soul, when you treat the soul with respect, when you feed the soul food, then what happens to the body is that the body gets stronger, the body gets happier, the person gets happier, you have much more of an energy about you, you don't want to sleep as much, you sleep a lot less. Okay? That's an indication that you're doing well spiritually, when you don't need to sleep so much. Okay? When you don't need to sleep so much. There's also with the whole like sleeping 8 hours a night thing. Torah has what to say about that also. We're not going to get into it right now. Sleep is definitely important, but sleep comes from the soul. Meaning if the soul is in a dark place, then you want to sleep more. Okay? And if you've given too much into your body, then the soul gets weakened. And you feel it. Okay? You feel it in everything that you do. You feel it in your mind, you feel it in the way you think, you feel it in the way you interact, you feel it with feeling like you can't really daven, you feel like your heart's closed, you feel it in a lot of different places. It manifests in many different things that are important. So yeah, the kids ate ice cream and watched TV till 2 o'clock in the morning and they were happy, but the next day they paid a price. And the following week they pay a price because they get so used to it and their brain turns to mush that they get so used to that, just like watching and watching and watching, that they become very, 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 hard to please. You can get them toys and you can get them bikes and they're bored because nothing can compete with comforts. Why would I get on a bike and cycle and get sweaty and whatever when I can just sit back and watch? And because that's what the body wants to do. The body is a couch potato. The body wants comfort. The body, think the body, ma'afar batala afar tashuv. You come from a foul, you go back to a foul, you go back to the dirt. Just think about that it is exactly the body's voice. The body is all connected to the ground. The body is ground. The body is earth. The body is pull me down to the here and the now. The body is I want it here and now. I want to feel good here and now. That's the body. The voice of the body is very down. It's very chill. It's very relaxed. The voice of the soul is fire, is up, is climbing, is growing, is elevating, is developing, is expanding, it's doing, it's helping. That's the voice of the soul. Okay? They're not friends. They're not friends. Okay? And so then this is what we're saying over here. He's saying here, Lachar ones Dina, after Dina was raped, Shimon v'Levi, her two brothers, Shimon and Levi, Shnei anashim bilvad, only two people. Where are we? Halachnu, halchu v'argu ir shlema, they went and they killed an entire city, shelochmim mufcharim, of really, they killed an entire city of strong warriors that lived there. How? How did they kill all these mighty people? Mesirut nefesh, he says, because they were moser nefesh. Because moser nefesh is exactly the opposite. When do you know you're moser nefesh? When everything about you is telling you no. But you know that this is good for you. When your body's telling you no, when your mind is telling you not now, when it's not logical, when it's cold outside, when it's difficult, when it's coming outside of your comfort zone, when you're scared, then Mesirut nefesh, you do the right thing at the right time. That's good for your soul. That's good for that part of you. That's help that part of you that will give you joy, that will give you connection, that will make you happy, that will give you energy, that won't necessarily make you sleep all the time and make you feel lethargic. It's the part of you that will give you back your life source. So yeah, in the moment it's hard. In the moment you have to do the hard thing in order to access the fun thing. It's not the other way around. It's not that you do the fun thing in order to access. That's exactly what it is. When you do the fun thing first, when you do the easy thing first, then you access the hard thing later. As opposed to when you access the hard thing first, then you get the fun thing later. You get the good energy, you get the good feeling, you get the excitement, you get the life feeling inside of you. Okay? When Shimon and Levi killed out that whole city of Shechem, they went with the knowledge, with the knowing that you can't rape a Jewish woman or any woman. But that was their sister, and they didn't care that they were two people facing an entire army, an entire city, okay, of people that were trained in milchama, people that were trained in war. They didn't care because they went with the principle. Well, they went with what's right. What's right is that you cannot rape. Rape is not good. I don't care what. Right? And that's why they won. That's why they won. And it's the same force that the Maccabim came with. It's that same place from this is wrong. I'm going to stand up for what's wrong. I'm going to stand up for what's right in the face of what's wrong. I'm going to stand up for this. This is wrong. And doing that in the face of what doesn't make sense and it's not it probably is not going to work out for me. For example, let me give you an example. You know, people that have a hard time with a mitzvah observance. Hi, Shuki. People that have a hard time with mitzvah observance, right? They have a hard time keeping Shabbos. They have a hard time, they have a hard time. They have a hard time controlling themselves. Okay, they just have a hard time with self-control. But they know that when they did keep Shabbos or when they did have that experience, it felt really good. Meaning, it felt like balm for their soul. It really they felt connected. They felt good. They felt at home. So what's the struggle with them? The struggle with them is that when they're alone, when they look at themselves in the mirror, the Yetzer Hara has made it so difficult for them to ever think in their minds that they can overcome their body's voice. They look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, I wish I wasn't a prisoner, but I'm a prisoner. And that feeling of I'm a prisoner to the circumstances of my life, because I've always done this, and this is how I act, and I always fall, and I can never say no to myself, and every time I go on a diet, 5 minutes later, I'm already breaking it, and I can never say no to myself, and I can never push myself to do certain things, and when I start, I stop, and, I don't have what it takes, and all the stuff that we tell ourselves, none of that really matters. Rabbi Nachman says, you always start over. Just do it, Nike's rule. Exactly, Huda, you got it. Just do it, right? The way Rabbi Nachman explains it is that you messed up now, it doesn't matter, go. You messed up now again, it doesn't matter, keep going. What, you did another mistake? No, keep going. Keep going, because the only way to get it right is after you get it wrong a few times. The only way to get it right is to say to yourself, okay, maybe this time I'll get it right. Okay, maybe there's hope for me this time. Maybe this time I'll be able to say no to myself. Tell myself, don't do that now. Don't eat that now. Don't go with that person now. Don't keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, because you're not going to get it, and you know how bad you feel afterwards. So don't do this now, because when you don't do this now, it's going to be annoying right now, because everybody's going, or everybody's eating, or everybody's whatever. Everybody's doing it right now, and you feel like you're missing out, and you feel like you really want it, and you have a really big taiva for it. But you know what? The holding back right now will give you that rush of good feeling inside later. That good feeling inside later is because of that strengthening of the part of you that you're fighting for. You're fighting for Dina. You understand what that means? You're fighting for Dina, just like Shimon and Levi fought for their sister. She was raped by Shechem. And then they went into Shechem and they plowed the whole city down. Everyone that was in it. They killed everyone. Because you don't rape a Jewish girl. You don't rape a girl. Nikuda. Right? And when you do that for your soul, when you go to war for your neshama, for your dina inside, when you go to war for yourself, what that looks like is, I know you screwed up every single time in your life in this area. With negia, with women, with men, with food, with overeating, with gossip, with cheating. I know. But let's follow Rabbi Nachman's advice, because he knows a little bit more than we do. And he gets it. And he says, obviously you're going to do that, because you have the body, and the body is a strong voice. But you want to weaken the body's voice? You want to weaken that? You want to take down the volume from that? You got to up the volume on the soul's voice. So say no to yourself now. You messed up now? You said yes to yourself? Okay. Now say no to yourself. So now say no to this thing that is not in your best interest, and you know what that is. We all know what that is. So let's say there's an amazing. I love this story. My amazing Rav Yuval Sharov, he says this story that a woman, one of the girls that used to come to his class. Hi, Chana. Okay, guys, you have to know Chef Chana is in the room, in the house, here now. She's amazing. If anybody needs a personal food coach, someone that can keep them on track, someone that can tell them how to eat healthy, someone that can give them a boost, Chana is your woman, all right? She'll take you everything, shopping lists, hold your hand through it all till you get to your goal. That's what we have to do sometimes, you know what I'm saying? We have to if we can't do it alone, we got to get other people's help and get to our destination, because the body's a strong voice. It is a strong voice, and it's hard to do it alone. So you gotta get some help sometimes. I definitely do. So the story that my Rav was saying was that one of his talmidos, one of his students, told him, she said, Rabbi, I have been praying to stop smoking for 5 years. 5 years I have been praying to stop smoking. And I stop for 2 weeks and then I fall. And then again I go back and I stop for another month and then I start smoking again. Every single time I stop, I start smoking again. And she said the craziest thing happened. One morning, out of the blue, I'm sitting on my porch here in Israel, and she says she walks onto her porch with her cup of coffee and her cigarette, and as she's about to light her cigarette, there's a guy that's walking underneath her apartment on the street, and he's smoking a cigarette. And she said that the smoke came up, and she smelled it, and it stunk. It smelled so bad. It was made her. It was repulsive to her. That's how bad it smelled, and it made her feel. And she said from that moment, she put the cigarette down, and she couldn't smoke anymore. And she said it's been 2.5 months, and I can't imagine picking up a cigarette. I want to ask you, Rabbi, why? How? Every single time I stopped smoking, I went back. Stopped smoking, went back. Stopped smoking, went back. And the one time that I was already smoking, forget it, I'm smoking, I smelled it, and then I stopped smoking, and I'm still not, what happened? And my brilliant, amazing teacher, Rav, said to her, he said, because every single time that you try, you strengthen your spiritual muscle, and then you get stronger. You're not in the same place you were. That's why Rabbi Nachman says start over 100 times a day. Because, so you messed up now, so in the next minute, so you didn't wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go running or to go praying? Fine, so wake up at 7. Okay, but you have to be so, okay, so take 10 minutes and do it in your room. I know you wanted to go to the shul, I know you wanted to go to the cave, I know you wanted to go on a run, you messed up, you missed it. It doesn't matter what you missed, it's done, it's dead, it doesn't matter. What matters is the now and the here and now, because the choice that you're going to make now for yourself is going to strengthen that part of you. He said every single time you stopped smoking, it wasn't like you stopped and then you went back and as if nothing happened. Nothing that you did mattered. Like all those weeks that you stopped, it didn't really matter. It did matter. It mattered because every single time you stopped, you strengthened yourself. And then you went back, okay. But then you stopped again and you strengthened that part of you again. You strengthen that muscle. You strengthen that muscle. You strengthen that muscle till all of a sudden something happens and all of a sudden you're done with it. We're such a we're so hard on ourselves. Like everything has to be black and white. If I'm not always eating well, then forget it. And if I'm not always working out, then forget it. And if I'm not always davening, then forget it. And if I'm not always, it's not true. Start now. Start today. Because the voice of the body is very, very strong. And now the only way to be able to combat that is with the voice of the soul. And the voice of the soul is really what's going to give you all of your joy and your happiness in your life. That's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. No Nike sneakers and no Gucci bag and no flight to anywhere. And nothing Gashmi. Nothing Gashmi is going to fill the neshama, because the neshama only gets filled when we make better decisions for ourselves, loving decisions, when we go out to war for the dina inside of us. And we say, nobody's going to rape me. Nobody's going to rape me emotionally, mentally, physically, in any way. And when I say nobody, I mean all the Yetzer Hara that he puts in front of us. The Yetzer Hara to do this, to drink that, to go there, to be with that person, to do this, to say that, to dress that way, to talk that way, to interact like that, to kind of not be loyal to my own value system, what I know is right. So let's just finish off with what he says here. So he says here. He says, Zeh shel Chanuka, and this is where we're going to end. He says this is the light of Chanuka. Ha'ara she'ma'al hateva. It's a how do you say ha'ara? It's like an opening. It's a light that is ma'al hateva. It's ma'al anything that we know to be in our normal life. And you've touched this. You've tasted this. I'll explain in a minute. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. כל אחד שמדליק נר, הוא מסתכל עליו חצי שעה, יכול לקבל האור הזה, מדליקים בשמן זית עם תילה. So he says like this. He says that, what is this light? There's a light that comes out of us when we are able to crush the guf, when we're able to crush the comforts, when we're able to crush what feels right in the moment right now. I don't want to get up and do the dishes. I don't want to do the laundry. I don't want to. Don't want to. What do I want to sit? I want to sit here on my phone and just watch stuff and just hang out and just eat stuff. That's what I want to do. Don't you? That's what we all want to do. That's what we want to do. But like Tony Robbins says, when you start doing things physiologically, when you start moving your body, then what happens is that it brings the soul into the equation. Because otherwise, the soul is quiet. The body is stronger. The body's stronger. Getting up and putting in a load. It's not a mitzvah to put in a load. But it's the right thing for me, because otherwise my clothes are going to get piled up and things are going to get overwhelming. And oh my God, Shabbos is around the corner and tomorrow's Chanuka and all this. And it's going to make me overwhelmed, and then it's going to make me upset. And then I'm going to be angry, or then I'm going to not be in a good mood, or then it's going to affect me in whatever way. But right now, I don't care. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it whenever. No, that's the body's voice. We have to go to war for Dina. We have to go to war for the part of us, inside that wants to do the right thing, that needs to do the right thing. And once I do the right thing, that's not ever going to be the easy thing. Ever, ever, ever. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever, never, ever. Okay? It's never going to be the easy thing. And you know that it's good for you when it's not easy. When you do have the struggle, when the struggle is there and the struggle is real, then you know it's the right thing to do. Should I call him? Should I not call him? Well, do you want to call him? Yes. Is it going to be hard for you not to call him and text him? Yes. Is he good for you? Some may say he is. Some may say he isn't. Only you know. When it's so hard for you, because you know it's not good for you and it's so hard for you not to, that's when you know it's the right thing to do. That's the Olympus test. He says here that the first half hour, so this is what I wanted to tell you. What is this ha'ara? So you know how when you're in adrenaline mode, you could do things that you normally couldn't do. For example, they tell you anytime you train with a coach and you go to the gym and you're on the elliptical or on the treadmill or on whatever, and they tell you run, and then you run 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever you run, and then what do they tell you at the end? When you're like dying and I have to get off now, I'm getting off now. Not Ayala, not you. Everybody else that's here, not you. All right? She's the coach. She doesn't ever get tired. But they tell you that dafka, when you're about to get off and you think you can't do it anymore and you have no energy left, that's when they up it. That's when they up it. That's when they up the speed. And if you're able to push yourself for those next few minutes, all of a sudden you get an energy. All of a sudden you get an energy, a momentum, this feeling of, wow, I have so much energy. I can go for another sprint right now, another 20 minutes. How? 5 minutes ago, you were falling apart. 5 minutes ago, you couldn't keep it together. 5 minutes ago, you were really, 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 needed to get off the treadmill. Your legs, your muscles, your tendons, everything was coming apart. Makara? What now? How are you sprinting? How in heaven's name are you sprinting? Anybody that knows anything about working out knows that it's the truth. When you can't take it anymore, and dafka, when you can't take it anymore, you challenge yourself even more for an extra 2, 3, 4 minutes, then all of a sudden you get you're like autopilot. And you get this magic. And it happens when a person is also like that story of that mom in Italy that her baby was stuck underneath the car and she lifted up the car to take the baby out from underneath the car. When you don't have adrenaline, you can't lift a car. Nobody can lift a car. You can't lift a car when you don't have adrenaline. But when you have crazy adrenaline like that, you could be a woman and you can lift a car. Because there's strength that we have inside of us that's deeper than what we know about ourselves. That's way more than what we know we can ever do or accomplish. Way more. It's because the body. The body's always getting in the way. He's always getting in the way. That's just the way God put it. That's why it's called nefesh be'emit. It's be'ema. Ba'ma. What is it? It's nothing. It wants to do this all day. It just wants to veg. It wants another pina colada, another trip to Hawaii, and another Botox, and more, just comfort. And that is the poison for the soul. Poison. Doesn't mean that you can't relax. It means that the always staying in the comfort zone and not coming out of it is poison for the soul. And the soul is, again, your life force and everything that makes you powerful and magical and who you are and your energy and who you attract into your life and what kind of bracha you have and what kind of tzedakah you have and what kind of money you're making and whose life you're impacting and what you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice for the sake of yourself. You have to go to war for yourself. You have to, because that's where your happiness is going to come from. Only there. And so what we're learning about Hanukkah right now is that, in essence, the light that we receive from the Nerot, from the first half hour, when we're looking at those candles, you have to know not to do any malacha during those first 30 minutes. Don't do any malacha, nothing. Don't just sit there, make believe it's Shabbos, look at the candles, just look at them. You have to know what they're doing. They're going into the light, this light that's the hidden light, goes into the way the Zohar explains it, and it goes into your eyes. Okay, the eye is the window to the soul. It goes into the soul. The light that's from the Garden of Eden, it's the hidden light that God took away from the Garden of Eden and hid it, and will only bring it back when Mashiach comes. This light is the light of Mashiach, and it's the light of the candles of Hanukkah, and it's only there for the first half hour. So for the first half hour, you sit there and you stare at those lights, and you let the vitamins go into your soul. Now, what are those vitamins for? They're for a few different things. But one of the things that the main thing that we're discussing here, first of all, they clean out also any bad things that you've seen in your life. Things that you've seen, like things that were traumatizing or terrifying or ugly or horrible, or things that you saw with your eyes that you wished you could unsee. That light, the Oganus, it's vitamins for that. It's minerals for that. It cleans that out. Okay, so look at the candles. And the second thing I want to mention here is that light also adds to the reservoir of internal soul strength that you have. It's the muscle strength. Not the body strength, not the body voice, the muscle of the neshama, that's the part of you that we were talking about before, the whole time we were talking about this, the life force inside of you, the life force that's inside of you, so it adds more life force. It adds more energy. It adds more you to you. It purifies that part of you. It strengthens the soul just by looking at it. It strengthens the soul. And really, that's the name of the game. The name of the game of Hanukkah is to understand that, the Greeks are dead for many thousands of years now. But what they represented was the body. And what the Jew represents is the soul. What the Jew represents is, I give away my money. That's how I make money. And if you would say that to a Gentile, if you would say that to a Yavani, maybe not a Gentile, because Tony Robbins, when he talks about how he gave away every last penny that he had, and right after he was able to let go of the last penny that he had, and the way he gave it away, also it's a beautiful story, the way he gave it away, to who he gives it away, and he has nothing left to his name. He's living in his car. And today he's one of the world's biggest millionaires or billionaires, and he does such great things with his life, because he understood that the act of giving is, in essence, what happens spiritually is the act of allowing. So when you're like, why doesn't anyone like me? Why doesn't anyone invite me? Why isn't anyone my friend? Why don't they invite us? Why don't they like us? Why are we always the one to invite? Why don't I have anyone in my life? When you're on that trip, where are you extending yourself? Where are you loving? Because if you want to be loved, the first thing you have to do is not wait for it at home, is not take selfies and show people how much of a good time you're having in life, as if, and is not to make people jealous, and is not any of that. If you want to be loved, the way to be loved is by loving. That is the Jewish approach. That is the way we know it to be true. We work the other way around. We don't work the way they tell us to work. You want money, go for it. Yeah, you have to make money, you have to go to work, you have to do all of that. But you also, at the same time, need to give away 10 or 20% of it. 10 or 20% of it. That's big. That's a lot for some people. That's a lot. And you give that away because the act of giving will allow you to continue receiving. Will make you into a recipient of love, of money, of goodness. That's how we think. That's the Jew. Yavan is the body. Jew is the soul. The Jew will win in the end. The soul will win in the end. The question is how you're going to really smartly fight your taivos, fight your desires, fight the body. How you're going to fight it. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Just like the example with the girl that was smoking. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to either work out every single day or 5 times a week or 3 times a week or nothing at all. That's not the way it works. Okay? You try. All that matters is that you try. And the more you try, the more you weaken the body and you strengthen the soul. That's it. The more you try, you don't keep Shabbos, it's hard for you. One thing do. Do one thing. One thing that's not going to be that hard for you in the beginning. It's not going to be that hard for you. Just do it. It's a little inconvenient for you. Good. Inconvenient means good. That's how you're training the body to listen to the voice of the soul. The more you listen to the voice of the soul, the more your body heals, your soul heals, your mind heals, you sprout forth. You begin to live. Really. And that's the message of Hanukkah. The message of Hanukkah is soul against body, body against soul, and to understand that there's a duality, to love and accept the body, but just like the little kid, we don't give in to every single thing that he wants, and we don't let him binge watch or binge eat or binge, do what he wants, curse, yell. We're mechanech him, and we have to be mechanech the body. And that's why it's called Chanuka, from the lashon of chinuch. That when the soul is mechanech the body, when the soul is mechanech the voice of the body, and again, it's not going to be every time. There are going to be times you're going to cave in and that you're going to say, fine, okay, just like you do with your kids. But you have to try. Every day, you have to try. Just like she did with the cigarettes. Every day she tried and she fell and she went back and she tried and she fell. She went back. Doesn't matter. You're strengthening your soul. Even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if in the end, the end result is that you're still smoking. Doesn't matter. But the fact that you're trying and going and trying and going back and trying and going back, in the end you're going to succeed. It's those people that succeed. It's not the people that sit back and say, I'm never going to do it. It's too hard. I've been doing it for 50 years. I'm never going to stop. No, you're never going to stop. You're right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You can't stop if you don't try. So that is really the ABCs of this holiday. This is the only holiday that we are directly dealing with light and not dealing with anything in order to get the light. Right? We're not eating matzah in order to get the mitzvah, in order to get the light. We're not sitting in a sukkah. We're not doing a levan esrog. We're not going in a mikvah. We're not doing any of that stuff. We're directly dealing with the light. The light is the soul. And that's why the soul of the candles, when we watch them, when we look at them, we're fixing our vision, we're fixing our perception of life, we're fixing our perception of ourselves, all the things that, I can't do it, that's way bigger than me, that's way more than I can possibly handle, that's out of my comfort zone, that's for those people, that's not for me, that's BS, that's what it is, okay? It's BS. You have to know how to work with your body, you have to know how to work with yourself, little by little by little. And remember, it says, In malei Hashem ozro, eno yocholo. You're not stronger than your Yetzer. You're not. We're not. Okay? No, we're not. We're not. Period. We're not stronger than our Yetzer. So you're not stronger than your Yetzer. You have to know one thing and one thing only. That the only way to beat the Yetzer, the only way to beat that voice in the body, the only way to not succumb to those averos every single time over and over again, things that you know are self-sabotaging your growth, the only way to do that is to A, try, and B, pray. When you're in the heat of the moment, when it's hard for you to say no to yourself, pray. Ask him, can you please help me right now? I want to do the right thing. I want to do good by me. I don't want to stop trashing my soul. I want to stop trashing myself, my morals, my values, what's good for me, what I love, what I want to see in myself in a year's time. I want to see this be part of me. I want to love myself. I want to be a kind person. I want to be a person that does good with humanity. All these things that I'm not right now. Okay? I'm selfish. I'm bitter. I'm angry. I'm greedy. I'm cheap. I'm all of those things. Okay? But I don't want to continue being all those things the rest of my life. Okay, God? And Hashem says, okay. Okay, good. That's exactly what I want you to say. So you don't want to be cheap and angry and bitter and sad and miserable and negative your whole life? Good, I'm so happy you're saying that. That's where we need to be. Not like, oh, I'm cheap, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm miserable, I'm negative. and that's just who I am because my mom and my dad were like that, then that's just the way I'm wired. You're not wired like that. It's your body. We're all like that. Silly. We're all like that. We're all negative. We're all angry. We're all cheap in a way. We're all greedy. We're all self-centered. We are all. That is the human reality. That is the human condition. And Hashem says, you don't want to be that way? What do you want? Oh, you want to be kind. You want to extend yourself. You want to give away your money and your time to people and your smiles and your compliments. You want to care about strangers. Oh, you want to be a person that is a good doer, a do-gooder, a good doer in the world. You want to be a person that spreads love. You want to be a person that keeps the Torah and keeps and really strengthens their neshama. That's what you want to be? Okay, I'll help you. But tell me that, he says. So tell me. If you tell me that you don't want to be all those things anymore and you need me to help you, then tell me and I will. That's how it goes. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's complicated because we have the taiba, but it's simple really. And remember, being Jewish and being religious and being connected to your soul and strengthening your soul is not an all or nothing game. And when you think it is, and you think you just have to be just so, and limit yourself on all fronts, and be so uptight about everything because you want to get it right, but meanwhile you're miserable, and meanwhile you're guilty, you're feeling guilty, and you're blaming yourself, and you don't like your life, and you're not happy, and all these things, you're not on the right path. The right path feels like the right path. You feel happy, you feel lighthearted, you feel energized, you feel like you want to give, you don't need to sleep so much, then you know you're on the right path. Okay? It's not the path of hitting yourself over the head all day. You don't have to do all the mitzvahs completely. You have to understand that it's not a black and white situation. You have to try as much as you can, and that's what matters. And you have to pray as hard as you can to make it to the other side, to really come out of certain things, out of certain addictions, out of certain relationships, out of certain environments, out of certain thoughts of ways of thinking. You have to really come out of those things. And when you do, it's because you wanted it and because he helped you. Because you asked for it. And it's possible. And it's doable. And that's what we were sent into this world to do. We were sent into this world to do this work. That's our mission. We were made for this. You were made for this. So with that, I want to wish everyone such a heilige Chanuka, a beautiful, holy spiritual Hanukkah, 8 days. And don't pressure yourself. Don't make yourself crazy. Just sit there with yourself and with God and ask for every single thing that you can possibly dream of for yourself in your life while you're looking at those candles. Go above and beyond what you think is probable for you and logical for you, because we're not Yevanim. We're not in the probable, logical game. We're in the miracle, al-TV, above nature. Maccabim can win a whole war. Shimon and Levi can destroy an entire city. We're in that game. We're in that place. We're holding there. We're lemala me'ateva, and that's why it's 8 days, because 8 is lemala min hateva. So in your head, when you're praying by those candles, ask for everything and anything. Imagine superhuman hero, savior, Wonder Woman. Envision the highest vision for yourself, and that's what you should ask for. And go there. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. All right, friends. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. Have a beautiful Chag. Hope you gained. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you liked it. And if anybody has any questions, ask. I'm here. I actually have a question for you. But I'm nervous to ask you guys this question because it's a little vulnerable and then nobody answers my question. So I'm going to be just like left here on the limb. Who's going to answer my question? I'll tell you the truth. Yesterday, I prepared for a long time because I gave these 2 classes at night. One was being live streamed in Beit Shemesh, and the other one was live in somebody's house with this wine and cheese event, and it was beautiful, and I had like a bunch of women come, and it was really, really special. and there were lights and there were cameras and it was action and all of that. And I was super energized, and it's on Facebook here. You could scroll down on my page and you could see it. And I was like talking like this and really, 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 really giving over. And I felt like it was okay. I'm going to get to my question, Hannah. Thank you. You're going to answer me. I know you will. I felt like it was okay. Like when I finished, I felt like I saw the faces, and I know this because I've been doing this for over 20 years. So I know what faces look like, and I know when things go in, I know how that looks. And I saw the faces, and I saw the very tired faces, and I saw the people looking at their watches and their phones, and I also felt it inside. Like I felt like something was off for me. Something was off. And nobody understands it. Everyone's like, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. It was amazing. But I felt it. I felt like, I don't feel it now. I feel like this class was a really, really clear, good, powerful, strong, detailed, really explained thoroughly. I liked it. I liked this class. Like I have my own, I give myself my own mark on my classes. But last night I didn't feel that way. And then tonight, and today, this morning, I taught a bunch of classes. And then tonight, I was supposed to teach this class here in the Lighthouse. And I was just like, I can't teach anymore. Like, I can't listen to myself speak anymore. I'm just so done hearing myself. And that tone and that energy, so high-end, so high, uppity, And I get that way when I teach Torah. But I said to myself, you know what? And I also asked God to help me. That's what we're learning. I'm just going to come with the energy that I have right now, which is tired. I'm tired. I had a really long week and I'm tired. And so I said, okay, I'm not going to cancel class because that's stupid. I'm just going to come and I'm going to just be myself. And so this video you could see it's very different from all my other classes where it's not so fast paced. It's very slow. It's kind of quiet more. It's way longer. Oh my God, it's so long. An hour and 40 minutes. Thanks for sticking with me. And I feel better about it. So my question is, does my, wow, this is vulnerable. What did I get myself into? Okay, so the question is, do you like the teaching style of more energy? I can't really help it though when I'm so energized. I'm not really doing it on purpose, but is it more energy and more fast and more like, you know what I'm saying, like shoot at you like bullets? Or did you enjoy this more calm, relaxed vibe? Because I really want to do what works for people, I really want to do what works for everyone. I like to learn from my Rav, who speaks calmly and slowly and just really slowly. I love him, and that's what I love. I can't listen to people that speak like me, but I can't help it because I feel it very strongly. And like sometimes I finish teaching and I'm just as if I like showered. I'm schwitzing and it's like I ran a marathon kind of thing. I'm so excited or inspired by what I'm about to share. So wait, Ari's saying both. Thanks, Ari. You're so politically correct. Love it. Energy for sure, but calm is nice, especially in the evening. Cool. That's nice to hear. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you so much. That's so nice. I really appreciate that. And I also want to tell you that yesterday with all these people in the room, I started feeling like, I don't know if I could do this people thing so much anymore. Like I feel so much better behind the screen all of a sudden. Is that bad? Anyway, I don't know. I'm not gonna listen to that because that's ridiculous. I want to see my sisters, but it feels a lot more natural all of a sudden because I've been doing this for 7 months behind a screen. Whatever. We are creatures of habit, that's for sure. Oh, let's see what you're saying. Truth is, it was perfect because use that was the vibe. I was in the same vibe. Long day and kids. Aw, that's good. Right? But I feel like I'm like in that vibe because like I'm speaking, but when you hear someone that's like in that vibe, you don't fall asleep? That's interesting. Because you're not speaking, so you have nothing to keep you up. And Sorrel, embrace both parts of yourself. I'm so inspired by you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sorrel? Yeah, such a beautiful name. I love that name. Tov, yalla. Happy Hanukkah, everyone. Don't overdo it on the donuts. Just be happy. Take care. See you soon. Thank you for all the love. Love you so much. Bye, Lighthouse.
I'll show you food here. I do. Thank you. Guys have such nice cups. Hold on, I need a book. Can I get a book? Like a thicker book, yeah. Okay. Let's begin. I'm going to start with a story. I'm going to tell you the story that happened to me when I was about 16. אוקיי, דברי שנייה כמה מילים על הטקסט אותך. אני מדברת. שומעת אותי? מה זה? את תשמעי אנשים מדברים, אתה צריכה לשים... כן, אוקיי, הם תכף ישתקו. שנייה. הם באמצע... שנייה, בנות, אכפת לכם בשנייה. לא, we're beginning, we're gonna start. Okay, we're starting. אני בעצם העוז שלכם, אוקיי? אני בעצם אכניס את האנשים. אתה צריכה להתעסק בכלל בעניין טכני. אוקיי? צריכה לטעון את הדבר. איזה כיף שיש אותך. בסדר? מה? לא שמעתי. הבנות שנמצאים שם שיהיו בשקט. בסדר? שיוכלו לשמוע אותך. טוב, הם בשקט. הם בשקט. אל תדאגי, אני אשתיק אותם תכף, אנחנו מתחילים. בסדר. אז רגע, אז יופי. אוקיי. Everything is good, everything is good. Hi! Welcome! אז רגע, how are you going to get to in here? I don't know. רגע. It's a big deal here. Come inside. Come inside. זהו. סגרנו כפסור, זהו. Alright. קודם כל, I want to start off and say that this evening